Hi, welcome back. In this example, what I want to do is go through a solution of what happens if a car is traveling in a truck at a constant velocity, and then it's rattled off of its holding platform, and then begins to slide down a ramp at a constant slope while the truck is continuing to move off at a constant velocity. So what I want to know is a car going to follow it? And if it does follow, how quickly is it following? Here we're looking at a car that falls off, so there's a bump, and then this car starts to go down this ramp. And we want to know, once it reaches the bottom of the ramp, so once it's down here, is it going to be moving this way or that way? And this ramp is a 1 by 5 meter, so the slope is 1/5. And the truck itself is moving at a constant speed forward. So to solve this using our Newton mechanics, using dynamics, I'm going to create a couple of coordinate systems and then also look at the free body diagram to look at what forces are actually acting on this car. So first, let's draw the ramp, because we just care about when it's moving horizontally along here, it's not actually gaining or losing any speed unless we think about friction. So really we just care about, as it's coming down off of this ramp, what's happening by the time it gets down here. So I'll create one coordinate system that's just parallel to the ground, E1 and E2. Then I'll create another one, which I'll draw in green, which I'll call B1 and B2. And the angle between B1 and E1 is theta, and the same thing for E2 and B2. So B1, B2, that second coordinate system, is just rotated by this angle theta, and that theta is a tan inverse of 1/5. So this is where we can, if I want to know B1 and B2 in terms of E1, E2, B1 is cosine theta E1 and sine theta E2. So it goes over 1, up 1, over cosine theta and up sine theta. And then B2 is, it goes negative sine theta E1, so it's going backwards. And then it's also going a cosine theta E2 upwards. This theta, because I'm using sine cosine of it, really I can just write this as, so if I have 1 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared, that means that c is root 26. So cosine theta is 5 over root 26 E1, and sine theta is 1 over root 26 E2. And then a negative 1 root 26 E1 and a 5 over root 26 E2. It just saves you from having, we don't actually use that angle for anything here. This is all describing geometry of the motion. So setting up these coordinates, this is helping me describe my kinematics. Now let's look at the mechanics. So use Newton's second law. We'll say that there's a normal force in gravity, and that's got to be equal to this mr double dot. because what I'm going to say is that this distance is r. So here r is decreasing. The total force is going to be the sum of n plus that mg vector. So it's going to be pointing backwards, so that r double dot should be a negative value. So here I have mr double dot equals negative mg sine theta. And what I did was say that the sum of the forces dotted in my b1 direction is equal to my mass times acceleration dotted with that b1 direction, so along that ramp. This gives me an equation of motion that r double dot is negative g sine theta. So now I can use that equation of motion to integrate. I'm going to use the chain rule here. So dr dot dt is also equal to dr dot dr times dr dt, which is negative mg sine theta. And really what I'm saying is so that means that r dot dr dot is equal to negative mg sine theta dr. So I can integrate from r dot 0 to r dot and r0 to r, and I end up with 1/2 r dot squared minus r dot at the initial squared is equal to negative g sine theta r minus r0. So r dot squared is negative 2g times 1 over root 26 minus root 26. So v is plus or minus 4.39 meters per second. It wouldn't make sense here, although we are taking square root, so it can be plus or minus. It wouldn't make sense to have, for it to get to the bottom of the ramp and have a positive v, so it's got to be a negative. This tells us how fast it's moving along the ramp. Because remember, these coordinate systems are fixed to the ramp. So this v equals 4.39, we'll call meters per second, v1, that negative, is really v of the car with respect to that ramp. But if I want v with respect to the ground, so v of the car with respect to ground, I need velocity of the car with respect to the ramp plus velocity of the ramp with respect to the ground. And this is the speed of the truck in that E1 direction. So velocity of the car with respect to the ground is 30 let's leave this in our negative 4.39 meter per second B1 plus 30 mile per hour. 30 miles per hour is about 13.4 meters per second in that E1 direction. One thing to note here, I'm mixing unit vectors, and there's no reason that we can't do that. They're unit vectors. They're only describing the direction of these scalar properties. So the car is moving that negative 4 meter per second along the ramp, and the truck is moving 13.4 E1, which is along the ground. So this is an important thing to know, that you can mix and match unit vectors, and you can always substitute back in at the end. So velocity of the car with respect to the ground is then 13.4 E1 minus 4.39 meter per second. Let's convert it back into our known components. We've got 5 over root 26 E1 plus 1 over root 26 E2. This is describing what's happening when the car is right here, right at the bottom of the ramp. We want to know what happens when it leaves the ramp. And once it gets to this point, there's a constraint that it can't have any component going downwards. So any E2 component that's left has to go to 0. So now V car with respect to the ground after reaching road is 13.4 minus 4.39 times 5 over root 26 in that E1 direction, or 9.1 E1 meters per second. So our final description of what happens to this car after it hits the road and the truck is speeding away. The car is following the truck at about 3/4 of the speed of the truck.